found since I graduated that time moves even quicker than it does at uni, and that can be like a really intimidating, scary thing, but it can also be a thing that you can really use to your advantage. For example, one of my friends, Laura, she was feeling a little bit frustrated since graduating, like she wasn't really moving in the direction she wanted to in her life, but she just kept, focused, applied to quite a lot of jobs in the space of like a couple of weeks, and then by the next week she actually had a job interview and had a new role. So within 2 or 3 weeks her life took a completely different turn, and that's just because time moves so quickly, but she managed to make the most of it and organise herself, and she ended up with the job that she really wanted, and is now really happy in that role. So I think it's really important to remember that, as long as you're taking opportunities and you're trying to move forward, things will happen for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the biggest challenges and one of the worst enemies is when you waste time on things that just procrastinating what you need to do. And that's one thing I've learned, that you need to have something that keeps you on track. So you have to force yourself to either follow a routine or have a to-do list, and there's so many great apps for this. Like I love Wunderlist, which is something you just create things in different categories, and then it really keeps you on track. And I just love like ticking things off, so that's a good thing. Or have a calendar, and even if it's a personal project, I think it's good to have it set on a day, that on this day that's the project I'm going to work on. Treat it like as a real project, as if you are doing it for a real client, because otherwise you never get around to it. There's always going to be something else you would rather do.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important to focus on your time and your time management. I mean, I'm similar. I really like having lists and ticking things off. It's very satisfying. Yeah. But I also quite like sitting down on Monday, getting up nice and early and looking at a paper like schedule for my week, and then thinking about what I'm doing in the morning and the afternoon of each day, just to make sure, exactly the same, that I'm planning time for my personal project, for my client work, to go out and, as we've talked about, get visual feed and visual information that will help to inspire me later in my week, and just to make sure that I'm staying on track for deadlines, and that kind of thing. So organising your time is something that you do have to adjust to once you finish university, because you have a lot of time to do projects at uni, and you might not have that once you've graduated. So I think it's really important to, like you say, either use an app or write down what you're going to be doing during your week, and it's a good way to stay motivated and keep yourself on track, even if you are feeling a little bit frustrated with how quickly you're moving in your career.
As you said, that sometimes it feels like really time just goes so fast, especially when you have deadlines, or when there's like a break and it's hard to get back into doing something. So another thing I found is setting yourself like a daily challenge and have like 10 days of doing something, or even a month, or even like 100 days of something. These are really cool, even if it's just like 5 minutes of your day. But if you do something productive, something that you can later on show that it was a progress, or like you improve one of your skills in a time frame, that's also very useful. And it's always good to feel productive, even if you just done something simple during the day. At the end you feel better, and you will feel more motivated to do something similar next day, or it will just feel like you were creative and you've done something.
Definitely, I think that's really important. I mean, I had a slight lull after I finished my internship, and then started picking up freelance clients, and so I started to do bar work, and I actually ended up getting a job that I really enjoy, working behind a bar. And instead of feeling disheartened by this and kind of feeling like it wasn't the role that I thought I would be in, I actually identified a few like design bits and pieces that I could be doing there while I was working there. And so I did these, like you say, just started the project to see where it went. So we do a lot of cocktails and stuff. So I was really frustrated with the original flashcards that we used. I just didn't feel like they communicated the information quickly enough for us, especially when it's really busy. So I redesigned them to hopefully communicate the information that's easiest first. So, you know, we can start the ball rolling if it's really busy and, you know, people are wondering why we're faffing around. And I really enjoyed the project, and actually they ended up showing it to our senior ops manager, and now we use them behind the bar, and they actually then commissioned me to do some further work for them and for, you know, for the company. So I think it's really important to remember that, like you say, you know, scheduling in time to just do something for 5 minutes every day and then showing it to someone, you never know where it's going to get you. So that ended up getting me some extra work and some extra money that I could then put back into more of my freelance projects. So it really opened some doors for me that I really didn't expect. It was just supposed to be a bit of fun and something to do, you know, to make me feel motivated. So.
Yeah, that's great. Motivation is sometimes really hard to find, and what I normally do, if I have something in mind that I need to do, or if it's a project for a client even, starting is always the most difficult. You might do your research, you might prepare everything, but to actually start on the project, that's like the key point in the whole process, because once you start, I found, it's much easier to stay on track, because you feel like you have achieved already something that you can go back to and continue. I almost think of it like as a game. In a game as well, when you start it, there's so many things that wants you to complete the game, like achievements and quests and side quests. The same thing with the project. So if you made a start on it, even if it's just 1%, you will feel more likely or more inclined to go back and continue it.
Yeah, you become more invested in something, don't you? And like, exactly, you can see more of an end to it, and that it could be a finished product, and that could be something you're really proud of. Similarly, you know, trying to learn like a new skill, or like learning a new piece of software could be a really good way to stay motivated and feel like you're still moving forward in your career, you know. So you could use a website to help you learn more about InDesign or more about Adobe, or you could go off and to, you know, a local studio and try some printmaking, or you know, any lino printing or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's so much things you can learn online. To be honest, I think you can learn everything online these days. So the good thing about that as well is you can pick your tutors. So there's probably going to be several different people talking on either YouTube or online courses about that certain skill that you're interested in. If you learn something online, what I found is it's good to limit yourself watching these tutorials or these videos to, let's say, if you watch 10 minutes, then try to put that into use for at least another 50 minutes. So it's really going to help you to start using a skill, because one of the pitfalls of learning online is that there's no one really controlling and no one telling you to, okay, now it's time for you to do it. So it's important to keep that in mind. So don't just keep watching things, actually start doing them and spend more time doing than watching. But as you said, it's very important to be open and try different things, because from everything that you learn, even if it's not related to design, it's going to be an inspiration that you can then incorporate into your design.
Yeah, that's a fantastic piece of advice. I'll definitely think I'll be using that one.